With the Thanksgiving festivities out of the way, I enjoyed a nice cup of tea by the window, observing the frosted flakes sticking to the side of the glass pane. It had been a hard year, which began with the death of our mother in January. But thankfully, both my sister Clara and I had established ourselves, so there was nothing left to worry about but the pain in our hearts. Could have been worse, I thought to myself. Yet it would have been nice if Mom could have been here for one last Thanksgiving. A few days before her passing, my mother told me to take care of my sister, which at the time sort of irritated me because Clara was always the successful one. She should be the one taking care of me, I thought. This had been a very lonely year because it was the first time that we no longer felt like a family. Now we were just two sisters meeting for Thanksgiving, trying our best to pretend that things hadn't changed. Clara flew from her university campus in Canada, coming all the way down here to the States just so she could be sure I wasn't alone for Thanksgiving. It was thoughtful of her, yet I had a suspicion that deep down she must have been worried about me. "So, Abby, how's it going?" Clara said to me as she came down the stairs after a shower with wet hair and a towel around her neck. "Not bad. How did you sleep? Is the bed here as comfy as the Canadian ones?" I asked, being snarky on purpose. "Stop it. You know I'm only up there since their med schools are more affordable. I really don't need your sass," she said, grabbing the towel from around her neck and holding it like a slingshot, threatening to whip me with it. I dodged her lash, and she started chasing me with the tensed towel. We both laughed at our silly game of chase. Felt like we were little girls again. It sure felt nice, having someone else in the house. Exhausted, we both laid down on the sofa, turning on the TV for some background noise to kill the dead silence emanating throughout the house. "So," she said, with a gossipy look in her eyes, "are you seeing anyone?" My cheeks felt warm. "Stop. Mind your own business. It's not my fault all of the guys are brainless losers in this shithole of a town, okay?" I told her, feeling flustered. "Ah, I see," she replied, rolling her eyes with a look of silent judgment imprinted on her face. "Anyway, Abby, do you remember this really weird red book that Mom used to read to us before bed?" Hearing those words felt like some dust was being forcibly blown off my memory. "Now that you mention it, I do remember something like that," I replied, recalling the feeling of pink blankets warming my legs as Mom read some sort of book. "I don't think I ever committed the contents of that book to memory, though," I said. "Yeah, I remember some details, but I was hoping you could tell me something about it. It came back to me when I was looking at this picture I have in my wallet." "Hang on," Clara exclaimed. She then proceeded to take her sleek wallet out of the purse that she threw by the side of the couch and took out a picture of me, Mom, and herself. I didn't tell Clara, but I had to force back tears when I saw it. "Yeah, I'm thinking what it could be," I told her, scanning my memory as best I could. Suddenly, a flash of something ominous pierced my memory, and I continued. "Wasn't it something violent?" said Clara, interrupting me. The room went silent. "Yeah, I hoped you'd remember it too. I thought it was only me," I said moments later, happy that I was not the only one that remembered how troubling the story was. "I remember that it had a worn-out red sleeve. She used to tell us that it was a very popular children's book. I've searched high and low for the title, but I can't find it anywhere, not a single mention of it." "Wait, Clara, was the title," I asked desperately, trying to recover this scrap of memory. "Tale of the Underworld, a Journey of No Return," she said, as her voice projected a very strange intonation. Like recovering drunken memories after a bad hangover, a surging recollection rushed into my consciousness in a split second. Right. Wasn't it the story of a girl going to hell to find her sister, only to be hunted down by these demonic-looking things? The more that I spoke of it, the more vivid the details were that resurfaced, like some sort of twisted parasite holding my memories hostage. Suddenly, I was seeing images of what looked like real undiscovered murder victims. Twisted walls of molten human bodies merged into shrieking red gel as malnourished dogs chased the poor girl from the story down the red corridors of Tartarus. "Yeah. Abby, Say, do you know if Mom kept the book somewhere? It's kind of been bothering me ever since I remembered it, just, having otherwise peaceful childhood memories. Abby, something doesn't feel right. Her book collection, I exclaimed, my eyes widening. That's right. After Mom died, Clara and I had decided to keep her belongings in my attic, as she couldn't bring anything to her campus. Rushing to the first floor without saying a word, I could feel the anxiousness of my sister, who immediately followed suit. I pulled the cord hanging from the ceiling, revealing a dusty wooden ladder that led to the attic, as a seemingly distraught Clara was not far behind me. The light bulb in the attic, caked in dust, shone bright once the chain by its side was pulled, oscillating in place since it wasn't attached to anything but merely floating. The light it made showed us what we were looking for, the cardboard boxes that, not having the heart to touch, I had left still sealed just in front of the ladder a few steps away. Are you sure we should do this? I'm not so sure about this, Abby. Don't worry, we'll get to the bottom of this, I told her, in the hopes that she would calm down. The box, folded together without any tape, opened as I pulled the cardboard flaps, projecting a cloud of dust in the air. Inside, several books were laid side by side, with some perpendicular along the top to fill all the available space. Quickly, I recognized it, a worn red cover. That's the one, said Clara, peeking over my shoulder, speaking into her hand apprehensively. Gulping, I slipped my hand around the book and pulled it out quickly. The title, in cracked gold letters, read, Tale of the Underworld, A Journey. The light flickered, preventing me from reading it all. As it did, the book seemed to tremble in my hands and visibly flicker itself, almost a glitch in the framework of reality. A shocked Clara shrieked, forcing me to look away from the book. And it was in this moment that I had a vision. It was of a strange, wooded area behind a construction site, and bizarrely, it was covered in snow. Seconds later, the light turned back on. In my hands, the title of the book read, Hansel and Gretel and Other Stories. I decided not to tell Clara about my vision. Opening the book in a hurry, I flipped through the pages, and indeed, there it was, the famous fairy tale book from the Grimm's brothers. Clara, having herself noticed the change, asked under her breath, What just happened? I don't know. I had it in my hands, I replied, turning page after page, looking for an answer, but in vain. We took the book downstairs and read it in full, but we found nothing about the story that we used to remember, not the smallest detail, until eventually we were too tired to stay awake. I woke up the next day confused and questioning my sanity, wondering if somehow I did something wrong, if perhaps the book intentionally hid itself from me. I got up on the frigid December morning, putting on my clothes as fast as I could, having to drive Clara to the airport for her flight back to Canada. In a way, it felt that was perhaps a mystery best left unsolved. Now, I suppose, you'd like to know the reason that I'm telling this story. 2 months after Clara left, she was found dead. I lost my mother, and then shortly thereafter, I lost my sister. Clara's body was found by a hiker who happened to be walking through a backwoods trail in rural Ontario. She was found in a wooded area near a vacant construction site. Authorities never allowed me to identify her body due to the condition that it was found in. Clara was identified using dental records. I donated all my mother's old boxes to the Goodwill, and since then have found no evidence that a book called Tale of the Underworld, A Journey of No Return ever existed. And believe me, I've been searching. That was 25 years ago. Claire's murder remains unsolved to this day.